What is up, everybody? I'm back again with another episode of I Love This Movement. This is episode 11. Wow. Episode 11, but it is day 13 of my 45-day live stream challenge. Tomorrow's live stream is going to come from Disneyland because I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow. But today I have a special guest, one of my homies, one of the guys from the Dope Squad, one of the leaders there, Bobby Loveable Roel. What's up, Bobby? How you doing?
Ooh, Dope Squad.
Yeah, you got to drop Dope Squad in there, man.
We got it, man. That's the crew.
That's it. You know, I know I've seen a few comments on there like, oh, we should call it something. It's called the Dope Squad, bro. That's what it's called.
That's the name in the message group.
Yeah, man. So like in these interviews, dude, when I do this, like, you know, I'm not all about like the cheerleader effect where we're just kind of like, yeah, you did it. You did it. And you start, you know, doing that move and all that stuff. And we're waving our pom-poms. I mean, we get there. Yeah, eventually we get to that point. But like, you know, there's a whole journey before that. And so what I like to do on this live stream is I like to get down to like the real story, bro. Like, especially when I'm interviewing somebody, I like to get down to the real story, the hardships, you know, the mountains you had to climb just to get to where you're at today, bro. And so, yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to hear your story, bro. So let's get down to it. You ready, man?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, homie. So tell us about yourself. Like, what got you into dancing, bro?
Man, I've been dancing for a while. I mean, when I first started, I just remember just being this little kid. My mom was having me do this little Mexican dance inside a church. I was dancing with my sister, even though there was like all these other people. And I was like, I don't want to dance with my sister, but we did. It was funny because during one of our performances, me and her actually got in a fight while we were in the middle of the dance floor. So the little kid just like, right? Like, she just like, you're a bad dancer. And me reacting like, you're a bad dancer.
Funny,
but it was cool though. I think even one of them, I think I even got paid like $10 or something like that. And I just like, yeah, I'm getting paid.
How old were you when that happened?
Oh man, I think I was like 10 or something like that.
Bro, you made $100 pretty much at $10 at 10. Yeah, that's like maybe not by today's standards, but like, you know, back then, $10 felt like 100.
Oh man, I felt like a baller then. I got $10. Yeah.
Nice, bro. So you were dancing with your sister, and then this was when you were 10 years old. So what happened after that?
Yeah. So what happened after that was I just remember I always loved listening to music. I always loved moving. And I remember one time me and a bunch of church friends were dancing. There were some older kids watching us. And then I did something. I'm like, yeah, this feels good. And one of them pointed at me and laughed. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh gosh, all right. I got really embarrassed. I didn't want to show myself in front of people after that, right? I mean, I always felt the music, right? But I never really like bounced around to it. And then finally, as we went a little bit further, I just remember seeing one of my friends. He's a Filipino homie named Mario. He was really dope. He was out on the dance floor. All the ladies are looking at him. They're just like, ooh, right? And I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, I want to be that guy. So I'm like, all right. I'm trying to ask him, okay, what do I do? How do I move my feet like that? Right? How do I do this? How do I do that? And stuff. He never really told me. So I just just kept moving or whatever. And anyways, eventually I started watching some YouTube videos, and from there I was going to a community college over here in Eugene called Lane Community College. And so I remember going over there thinking, man, I want to freestyle. I want to just be this dope hip hop dancer. And so I ended up taking this class called Dance Basic. And so I go to this class, and it wasn't hip hop at all.
What was it? What was it?
It wasn't, man. It was like modern, I think a little bit of ballet, a little bit of like flipping your hands up. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's always like a little bit of everything, right? Like it had a modern dance, ballet, jazz dance, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just kind of like an intro to dance scene.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But you know what? It was still a pretty cool class. I mean, there's still some cute women in that class.
Oh, were you there for the girls, man?
At first, but then I also met one of my really good homies. His name was Davey, and it was pretty cool kicking it with him. Later on, he started b-boying, and yeah, I was in the military at the time, so what happened?
Nice, bro.
Was, yeah, I was in the Navy as a CV. So what ended up happening was right after that class, I was getting deployed, and so I took the class. I hung out with Davey a couple times. Afterwards, I deployed. I came back, and I just saw that he got so much better when I got back. I saw him on the floor doing all these cool b-boy footwork and stuff like that. I was like, dude, that is sick. And from there, I saw how much he developed. I'm like, man, how can I start to get better? And I just remember watching YouTube videos, trying like the arm wave, trying all this little stuff, right? And then from there, going out, meeting people. But I just remember like hiding out in my room. Like I didn't want people to see me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, this is fun, right? And for whatever reason, I mean, I just kept doing it. And yeah, I mean, just coming to now, the last couple of years, taking courses from Mega Man, Todd, finally just saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to integrate myself into the scene. I'm going to start connecting with other people who are living this, and just start just doing this regularly with these other people who are really passionate about it. And I mean, I always thought, I was like, okay, I think I'm kind of good, even though I was still afraid to like put myself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just remember going to the club, being that awkward guy, kind of standing on the side, or else I could only dance in front of people if I was drinking. Like literally, it was this for probably like the first 5 years or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, because like I haven't heard that story from you before. How you got into dance and how like you actually took some dancing like while you were a kid. That's actually pretty cool, dude. And like, is there a reason you took like the Mexican style? Like, was it like the folklorico like type of dance, or was it just kind of like a hat dance? What did you do? Like, what was it?
Ooh, man, I'd have to show you, but I just remember the song was like da 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 da.
Oh yeah, you were doing the Mexican hat dance, bro.
Yeah, the Mexican hat dance.
Yeah, man. So like yeah, and then you ended up like you got into it because you wanted to be like the sexy guy. I think that's something that happens to most because that's damn.
Well, I got into popping because I wanted to be the sexy guy.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was doing the Mexican dance, it was more of my mom.
You were voluntold.
I was voluntold. Mom was like, "You're gonna learn how to Mexican dance."
And so like, yeah, so like but I can relate to that, man, because I mean, obviously, like when I started dancing, I wanted to be the sexy guy and get all the girls, that's just kind of the mentality was, especially like, when I was kind of, in high school, there was, I mean, if you remember like Omarion and then Usher and then like even Michael Jackson, like they would dance and all the girls would be like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I want to make them faint, you know? You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to just do the oof, and then just like that, you know, I think that was we have a similarity there. Like we wanted to be that sexy dude, right? So you took classes at the CC, and then you met some friends there one like right when you were gonna deploy, or you know, where did you deploy to, by the way? Or were you just on this overseas for a while?
Well, that time, I mean, I've done 2 deployments. One was prior to starting dancing at all, other than like the Mexican dance stuff.
Yeah.
But first one was to Iraq. The second time, and this was after I went to this class, that was when I went ahead and I deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan.
Oh, man. And what years were those?
Man, let me see. I think this one was 2011, and then I think it was 2006 when I ended up going to Iraq.
Oh, man. Okay, man. Hey, thank you for your service, bro. That's you know, I'm a veteran myself, so cool. You know, I show love to all my veterans, and you know, I was in Iraq too, so I totally understand that whole thing right there, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for your service, dude.
Of course.
Appreciate it, man. So let's keep this thing moving on, bro. So what was like, you know, this is where it's going to kind of take a little bit of a change. We started talking about
Can I actually go before we do this? Could I go ahead and share another one of my stories?
Go for it. Go for it, bro.
Yeah. But now I'm looking forward to getting down to like the nitty gritty and such.
Okay.
So yeah, but another experience of mine was my friend Davey. After I got back, I just remember taking a hip hop class at that school as well. And I remember going to community college, and there was this performance, and it was called The Works. So my friend Davey had done it a couple of times before. And so he's trying to start a crew, and it didn't really work out. But I was like, you know what? I want to do this, and I want to see if we could do something with it. So anyways, I just remember the week prior to that, he's just like, all right, let's go for it. Let's audition for this, and let's try it. And so we practiced for 2 days, and afterwards he got the jitters. He's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, what, dude? Come on, man. we started doing our choreography. I mean, I've never really performed before other than a little Mexican dance when I was 5. Well, anyways, what happens is the day of the performance or the audition is at like 3 p.m. But my friend Davey's finally like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm there like, are you freaking kidding me? You're telling me this at 10 a.m.? Like, literally, I went out drinking the night before. Like, I'm on my futon, hungover, passed out. Like, I don't want nothing to do. I'm ignoring you, man. Yeah. And all of a sudden he calls me, and he's just like, I'm coming, man. I'm coming. And so he knocks on my door. I open it. I'm just like, crap. Okay, let's do this. And so we auditioned that morning. All of a sudden we go to the audition, or we're practicing for the audition. Then we go to the audition. Finally, I'm like, all right, just nervous as heck, thinking, okay, there's no way we're going to get accepted for this, but screw it. All right. And so we audition. I just remember hitting on a box. Like we had a pretty interesting piece. I had a giant afro at the time. I don't know. Maybe that helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyways, we do it. And I'm like, all right, yeah, they're not going to accept us anyway. So at least this will probably be the only time. So I do it. And then about a week later, he hits me up and he's like, we got accepted. And I'm just like,
what? Yeah.
What? Yeah. So there's a part of me that's like, yes, we're accepted. But then there's a part of me that's just also like, crap, I'm actually going to have to do this thing. Damn it.
I know that feeling, dude. I know that feeling. You're like, oh yeah, I got it. Fuck, I got it.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, it's kind of like, all right, you made a commitment because you wanted to make the commitment, but when the commitment comes and you get it, you're just like, man, what'd I get it for? I kind of wanted it, but I wasn't really committed to it.
Yeah. I was like, I was hungover on my futon.
Damn. Hey, man, but you know what? You know what's funny is that like when you go, like those moments where you're just like, man, whatever, dude. I don't care what comes out. I said I was gonna do this. I'm so worried about like just sleeping and worried that not gonna throw up on stage because I'm super hungover. That's probably what helped you, is because you didn't even get yourself psyched out. You're like, man, I just want to get this done. Let's hurry up and just finish this. And so that's probably why they're like, look at that. Oh my God, that man has confidence. Let's take him. So that's probably what it was, dude. So that, I mean, if you didn't want it, you shouldn't have gotten drunk the night before, dude.
Yeah, well, I didn't know we were gonna audition, man.
Yeah,
like he gave up on it, and then he changed his mind that morning of the audition. So I was like, all right.
Yeah. So you're saying like the night before he said, "Nah, bro, we're not doing it."
You said that like 3 days before, right? So
and then,
all right.
and then so you're like, okay, well, we're not doing it. So you went to go drink, and then he goes, Frago, we're doing it, bro. Let's go. Get your shit and let's go. And you're like, what? Damn. You jerk. You jerk.
Yeah, I didn't know on my phone, but he literally comes to my doorstep. I was like, all right. And that was probably one of the most rewarding, fulfilling experiences. I just remember just thinking, okay, I'm not good enough, let alone doing this while I'm hungover, right? But it's like, okay, we got approved. And since then, I'm like, all right, well, we got to do a lot better once the show actually comes. So I just remember just really putting in the work, showing up early. And even though it wasn't necessarily like popping or anything like that, I mean, there was elements. I mean, I did some choreographed cuts, and then I also added some of that dance basic stuff as well to it.
Yeah.
We had a pretty cool piece. And I was just like, all right, when it came time, I was ready for it. And I got better as I progressed. And I was just like, okay. And working on that actually helped me get better at my popping as well.
Nice, bro. But you know what's crazy is that there's a lesson there, bro. Like, people tend to really kind of psych themselves out in certain things, especially like if they're going to, post up a video to battle, they're going to post up like maybe something to get critiqued by, or maybe it's even just like outside of dancing. It could be like an exam, bro. You psych yourself out of that exam. And then when you over prepare for exam, or you're over preparing for like a battle, or, in that terms, that like sometimes it's just better to like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Like you weren't even worried about it. You were just like, man, let's just get this over with.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? So by the time it came to perform, you were just like, you didn't even care. Like, I don't care who's out there. You were probably in your mind like, we're just going to do what we're going to do. I'm just here to do this. And like, whatever comes out, comes out. Fuck it.
Actually, I was nervous as heck, just to be correct. I was nervous going into that audition. Like I was shaking from being hungover, and then shaking because like, okay, I'm performing. There's some ladies here who dance as well, who really dedicate themselves to it, right? But I did it anyways. And then later on, as the performance came, I'm like, all right, you know what? There's no way I'm gonna look sucky here, so I'm gonna at least do my best, like going up to it. Right.
But still, like that's like I said, there's still a lesson there. Sometimes we psych ourselves up because it's normal. It's only normal, dude. If you're gonna go on stage, you're gonna feel a little bit of a nervousness. Like it's just normal.
No
like boom, right. Even before this, dude, I've done this for damn near 14 days of going live, and like I was telling you before this, like okay, before I hit live, it's kind of like the hardest part, but then we're here, it's kind of like now you're just like. It's like, man, this is just kind of flowing out now. Like everything else forgot. We forgot about everything else, That's like the whole, that's a norm. But the thing is that we did it.
Yeah, that's the important part.
The important part is you did it. And regardless if you're like, man, I don't care what happens. Like, okay, I'm nervous. But once you started it, you were just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's that's the lesson, is that sometimes all it takes is just to hit start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like once you're in the moment, right? And then all of a sudden it just kind of kicks in like, okay, I've been training for this, right? For sure. I can do this. And even the best people in the world, I mean, you get world renowned like public speakers, and even they might question themselves ahead of time. Even some like people who have like millions of followers on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Millions of fans, like they still get that years. I mean, it's only human, but then once they get going, I'm like, dude, I do this, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. So like, hey, bro, like that's dope, and that tells me a lot about you because like even damn, we're not even to the second question, and I'm like, this tells me a lot about you because like if you were doing that back then, like you without any ease when you're like posting stuff for battles or posting your videos up like in the mentorship, like you're the first one. You're the first one. You're like, I'm posting my video. Boop. I don't give a fuck. Boop. You know, like you're like, screw it. Like I'm just gonna do it, and you do it, bro. And that's like commendable because like there's a lot of people that have a hard time sharing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but so let's take it to the next level. All right, let's do
It.
this. Yeah, let's do the
Do it,
second
man.
question. So now that
Yeah.
this is gonna start getting into that
Yeah.
zone where it might kind of make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but like you're gonna have to
That's
kind of
okay,
go.
man. Well, there's this thing, it's like either you let these experiences own you and you don't say it, you bottle up, whatever, get in the fetal position, or
Yeah,
you own them. I mean, I think every experience is a lesson, right? And
dude, that is dope. Own your experiences. Damn, that's what's up, dude. That's a I like that quote. All right, I'll make sure I will use that later on. All right, so
yeah,
let's
absolutely.
let's do this. All right. So what was like, man? What was like some of the biggest adversities, biggest struggles, biggest like challenges you had throughout your journey from to getting from the day one that you started dancing to like where you are at now? And it necessarily doesn't have to be just about dancing, but just different adversities that you go through. Maybe your time in overseas in a combat zone, or your time like something happened with the family, or you lost a loved one. Those are the type of adversities I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone has some adversities, right? As long as you're breathing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, as long as you're breathing, you're a flippity floppity human, right? Something's happened in your life. And I think just getting out there. I remember when I first started popping, I took this Poppin' John Soulbotics mentorship, or his monthly membership online. Anyways, I remember you're just like, yeah, you could submit your videos. I'd love to go ahead and give you some feedback. And I didn't want any feedback from anyone at the time. I was just like, I'm good learning on my own.
Yeah.
And you got to going back to prior when I wouldn't dance in front of anyone unless I like actually had a drink, and even then. But yeah, I just remember dancing a couple times in front of my homie Mario, and he just pointed at me and he laughed. I'm like, oh, I thought I was doing it, man. Even though I
Yeah.
didn't work on doing the arm wave or anything like that. I'm like, oh crap, he's a really good dancer. But
Yeah.
it's like still kind of continuing that. And then I just remember another time I was at friends' place, I was hammered, right? And anyways, I blacked out. I woke up the next day and they're like, these ladies are just like, you can't dance. And I'm like, what?
Damn.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy, dude.
Little things like that, right? And I'm not gonna say that that's something that's fueled me, that's motivated me. Like I don't care, right? Those are experiences, they happen. But what's really, I think, like pushed me through all that is just really my love for the dance, right? And regardless of what people think, and also just having that love for myself.
Yeah, man. So that's crazy because you talked about like I think everybody can kind of relate to you when you say that you could only dance when you drink. So you were going like when you had that liquid courage, that's when you can actually get down, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
when I could talk to people. That's when I could do anything.
yeah, so like I'm gonna give you this what's it called? Let me tell you like quick story. So me and what is it? Me and Sprite from Funny Bones crew. Okay, before he was Funny Bones, like we went to a battle or we met up at a battle here in LA where like Boogie Frantic, Jay Smooth, and I think it was not Mary Poppins, it was Praying Mantis. They were the judges, right? And so we were doing the prelims, and so me and him were really nervous, right? So we started drinking some beer. We
Oh
just
man.
kept drinking, and we got to the point where we were just like, yo, like we're feeling good. And then it was our turn, and we just kind of we did it, but we were kind of sloppy because we were sloppy, you know. And
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
later on, like I remember Junior Boogaloo came up to us, and he was like, "Man, you guys are pretty dope." And I'm like, "We're drunk." And he's like, "Oh." I'm like, "Fuck, dude, I felt so stupid, dude." Like, you know what I mean? I do much better when I'm not like under any type of
Yeah.
influence, you know, like especially without like alcohol. So like I can
Yeah.
totally people can totally relate to that.
Mhm.
You know, and then just being made fun of, like when you get made fun of, like when people are dancing, when you're dancing, especially something that's like where you're on the spotlight, because when you're doing this dance, you're on the spotlight. It's not like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're doing a routine, now we're freestylers, so we're on a spotlight. And
Mhm.
you know, if people are making fun of you, that can kind of like, if you think people are making fun of you, you start like closing up, and then you don't want to do it anymore,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, absolutely.
And then realistically, is like I tell people, man, you got to look stupid before you look good, but
Yeah.
you gotta be okay with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So that's like I can see how people can relate to that experience. But what you have any other types of
Oh,
adversities
dude,
you jump?
I got a bunch, man. But yeah, like you were saying, you gotta look stupid. And I still now I just throw myself into the stupidity. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. Just let me have it. And I think that's just what really has allowed me to grow, just to be able to go ahead and take that feedback. And then also realizing too that like I could either accept it or reject it, right? Sometimes I could just be like, okay, that's that guy's opinion, but you know what? I got like all these other people as well who are like, no, right? Who I respect. And not coming from a point where I'm like judging anyone or anything like that, but just kind of coming from like, yeah, no, you know what? I'm very confident in this, you know, I'm very confident. But at the same time, just being like, okay, yeah, maybe considering it though, and being like, okay, maybe I can make a little adjustment and just try it out. And sometimes I do have a thought, right? And I still try it anyways. I'm like, whoa, that was actually really dope, man.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I find it interesting how, like, you know, those people that tend to be like, we can call them haters, right? Because if they're making fun of you, they're hating. Like they probably have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And it's kind of
Mhm.
like, if you're worried about that fool, and then everybody else who knows what they're talking about telling you something different, you're like, well, why listen to that guy? He probably has no idea. You never seen him dance. You never seen him do anything. And even if he did, that's only one person's, you know, like judgment, right? So like if you have a whole
Yeah.
bunch of people that are like as equally as good as him, or maybe, you know, they're all better than him, like why even take their opinion? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I always just try to make sure if it's constructive, it's something I could grow from. I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead, I'll give it a try. Right.
Yeah, yeah, most
Go from
definitely.
there.
Like our
Yeah.
what's something that we were working on? The face stuff?
Yeah, yeah, man. That was so funny the first time. I remember you did it. I was like, dude, that's dope. And then I did it and I swear I looked constipated or something.
But you
But
know
it's
what?
so
It
yeah.
works though, right? It works because
It
it gives you that
is.
confidence. It gives you that confidence. You're like, man, I already gave you my boo-boo face. Like every other face I should do shouldn't be worse than that one.
Yeah, can't get much worse after that, man. It's like, okay, open my eyes, right? Don't look constipated.
So you went to Iraq, and then you went to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Which one was 2011?
Ooh, 2011 was Afghanistan.
Okay, so when you were in Afghanistan, you were still dancing, right?
Kind of. I remember going there. I didn't dance too much, but I might do like a quick little like one step or two steps. Like, I mean, it was like, you know, you have the music in you and you just naturally want to move, but you don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
Right. It was
Yeah.
kind of like that. And then just kind of making sure people weren't looking when I did that.
How did that affect you, man? Like when you came back from Afghanistan, and then you know, just kind of integrating back into like, you know, post combat like uh tour, you know, back here, and then trying to dance. Like how did that affect you?
Ooh, man, it just so interesting. Just being over there, being in this little outpost, like outside of Kandahar City. not a lot of people, not a lot of things to do, and then just being with the same guys working every day. Not that the work was bad, it was more of the sitting around and not really doing anything where you could just really take your time to think and get into your head,
Yeah.
right? There's a missing connection. And so I just remember coming back at first and just really like wanting to stay to myself. Like it's like, okay, I'll stay here, I'll watch YouTube videos, I'll learn this way, but not really wanting to go out and connect with people for a little bit. And just
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, I got some money saved up, so I'm just going to sit back on this for now
Yeah.
and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, I just remember when I first came back, I mean, over there, you hear mortars and things like that. I remember I came back, I think it was like 4th of July or close to it. I heard like a firework or firecracker outside. I'm like, oh crap. Like I jumped down. One of my friends is like, that's a firecracker. I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm not there anymore. And
How did that like that affect your dancing, man? Like, did you find it like hard to kind of find people to dance with, or kind of like maybe explore new areas because of these like kind of things that you were going through?
Yeah, I think a lot of that had to do with just, like being afraid to put myself out there, being afraid to show my movement to other people, like just really having like a lot of self-doubt, right? I get confident. And then I was also just thinking, okay, like where do I start at? The first time I tried, it's like, okay, I went to dance basic, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, where to now? And there's a couple other hip hop classes, but I'm like, well, this is all choreo, man. I want to learn how to freestyle. And there wasn't really a lot of like in-person freestyle courses. But with that said, I mean, there were a couple of workshops here. I mean, there's a popper by the name of, what's his name? Trying to think. Oh yeah, Icon.
Okay.
Yeah, Icon, really dope Tudder out of Portland. So, anyways, he came to Eugene one time. My friend ended up hosting him as well as another dancer over in Portland. And I remember she called me up and she's just like, "Yo, are you coming to the workshop?" And I was like, "I'm hungover." I really was. But then I remember Todd actually came here too as well, and he hosted one.
Oh,
And I was
nice.
like, oh, that's cool. But I was just so afraid to like go ahead and integrate with people and just like put myself out there. And I
Yeah.
remember, afterwards, my friend told me, he's like, dude, Todd was really dope. He's a really nice guy too. He just taught us a lot of really interesting animation things. And I was like, okay, cool.
And that was but you didn't go to that one.
No.
Yeah. Were you was it has to do with a little bit of maybe some kind of, at least when I got back from Iraq, like I didn't want to go out. Like I had kind of the same things that you had, right? Where you were like, oh, well, I really don't want to go out. Like I just kind of stood to myself, and you think it had to do with those things where you're like, I'm not really sure. Like you want to go out, but you're like, but I really don't know anybody. Like I don't trust anybody, because like when you're out there, like you have your, you have your, like what we call them in the Army, we call them battle buddies, right? You have your comrades, right? So you had your battle buddies that were always watching out for you. When we would do like the buddy system, like wherever, if we were gonna go to somewhere, we would have to go in buddy pairs all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so like if I didn't have a buddy to go with, and it'd be like, well, I'm not gonna go. So did you have some of those same issues?
Yeah. Like I didn't really want to go out and hang out with people unless I was with friends, right? And I didn't want to go dance unless I'm like out there with my crew.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Not that I had a crew. I mean, I had like 3 people. Right?
Yeah, you had your homies.
Yeah, and then a bunch of other friends, or 3 homies that dance, and others that were hanging out, and they were just cool people.
Yeah, man. And so, so you're dealing with these things, and then you kind of like you started kind of getting yourself out there a little bit more. So what led you to like look for guidance instead of just learning the old fashioned way,
Okay.
like who did you learn from?
Yeah. So anyways, just kind of rewind a little.
Sure.
But yeah, so anyways, I mean, prior, so a little bit after that, I was just going out. I was dancing with my friends. I was learning from them, but I kind of noticed I wasn't progressing. But finally, I was like, okay, I could go out and start to connect with some people, right? And this is a lot of local people. But then, back to how you're talking about alcohol, I literally have been drinking like over 4 years now. And this is a good, interesting story. You could kind of go along with like a lot of those vulnerable moments, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened was I ended up going to Seattle. One of my friends he's moving from there and he's planning on taking a trip around the world, right? So I go there, I'm hanging out with some friends, I'm having some drinks, I'm hanging out with my sister. And so I end up blacking out. One of my military buddies came over, and then all of a sudden I wake up like 2 days later, I'm in the hospital, and I'm like, what happened to me? Yeah. And my friend comes up to me, like, like all my family, all my friends, they're all there with me. And they're like, you got jumped by some Samoan guys. A Samoan guy just knocked me out. So
how big? I mean, okay. How tall are you, bro?
Dude, I'm 5'6".
Bro, so like, how big were these Samoan dudes? Because some of these Samoan dudes can be like 6 foot and be like just wide,
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were about that. I'd say 6 foot. Some were wide. I think the guy that hit me, I think he was like 5'10" or something like that. But he wasn't as wide. Of course, I'm also blacked out at the time as well, not knowing what's going on. But yeah, so what my friend told me what happened was I was on the dance floor. I'm dancing. I know there's some lady dancing out there. It sounded like I wasn't like trying to get with her or anything like that, but we're just kind of goofing off, having fun. So we go out, we just start talking. And then one of her friends just yells, she's like, she's married, and yells it out loud. And these Samoan guys are looking for a fight, right? Anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time. And all of a sudden, one of them just runs across the street like, these guys bugging you? And all of a sudden he starts trying to swing at my friend. And then he sees me, and all of a sudden he hits me and I fall. And she's trying to stop him. She's like, no, wait. He's cool, right? But I'm passed out, knocked out, right? And then they even tried to take my wallet. Well, my friend just like, man, there's more of them. It's not just this guy, but there's like a whole group of them. They're all really big. And so he went to go find the authorities, and he came back. Man, those girls like jumped on me, they protected me. Like the guy's trying to take my wallet. She like slapped. He's like, no, leave him alone. He done enough, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, they helped me. And anyways, they finally I got in the ambulance. I went over there, and all of a sudden, that's when I woke up. I heard my parents are driving from like Central Washington, literally like 5.5 hours away. My dad has Parkinson's, so I'm worried about him, right? But my dad loves me. He cares about me, and he wants to be there for me. And so he came. Like a lot of my friends from over there came. They even went and got the security footage so they could kind of see what happened over there. And I just remember that moment thinking, man, I've been so focused on all my businesses, because I had like a business at the time, which I made like 6 figures with, right? But I was just miserable throughout the whole experience. And I'm thinking, man, I'm chasing money, but here's my family, right? Here's my friends, all these people that care about me. And I've really been, neglecting them, really neglecting that love, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to stop for a while, right? Yeah, so I've been wanting to stop drinking for a while so I could just really focus on my life. I do things that are fulfilling, things that are like exciting for me.
Yeah.
And so from there, I just went ahead. I stopped drinking, and then that kind of put me on the path of, okay, I started meditating. I started reading books. I started taking care of myself. And I was thinking, you know what? Why don't I start looking for some people who could guide me throughout this dance?
Yeah.
And such. And so I went from there, and back to the mentor story. A couple years
before
ago,
you go there, so is it almost safe to say that you probably had a drinking problem?
I'm not going to say that I had a drinking problem because there's some people that are a lot worse than me, right? And the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I was able to quit, right? It wasn't like I was an alcoholic. It wasn't like I was drinking by myself, no friends. Like I only drank with friends.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
But
But
but your drinking got you in trouble. That's what happened.
it was more of not the drinking. Like I got in trouble because I chose to drink.
It's that liquid
Right?
courage, bro. It's that
Yeah,
liquid courage.
yeah. Like I mean, we could go ahead. We could say the liquid gives us the courage, right? We could
Yeah,
say
yeah,
liquid gives us anxiety. But at the end of the day, it's our choice to do that.
for sure. I got you.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
yeah,
But yeah, okay, cool. I just wanted to ask that to see like, you know, just to see what you would say. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's like if that was what it was, or if it was just the liquid courage, you know. So there's a big
yeah,
difference between being like nah, then I had a drinking problem, like I drank, you know,
yeah.
versus like, you know, like man, I used to get fucked up, but I would be stupid getting fucked up. So like I'd rather not. I'd rather not be that guy, you know. So yeah,
Yeah,
those are
you know,
that's two different things, you know. So
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
And
So let's
not to say that I didn't have like stupid, like getting fucked up moments, but it wasn't like, okay, every day I'm just getting super trashed, right?
for
You know,
sure.
like
I got
that,
you.
you know, and I could moderate, but I just did that time. I was like, okay. But it just really had me reflect on things and just really kind of just really appreciate life and what I did have.
Yeah. So you really had to sit there and be like, yo, like, okay, I like doing this, but every time I do this, like something happens and I get into trouble. And so what do I do? Do I keep chasing the trouble because I like doing this, or do I just change my ways and actually find the time and the love to do this other thing that I like to do? And so you chose B, right? Versus A.
Yeah, I kind of went in the B direction. I'm like, all right, I'm spending a lot of money on this. It's like, okay, I'm still going to the club, trying to show off. I'm still not impressing any ladies, right? It's like making like, okay, I still have that same, you know, like I still have that same anxiety, whether I'm drunk or sober, right? And it's like realizing that I've also had moments where I've been sober, right, where I've also had courage as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, realizing that, you know, like like it's a choice whether I'm sober or drunk, right? And to realize that, yeah, sure, I might have these feelings, sure, I might have these thoughts, but knowing that I could still move forward
That's awesome.
regardless.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, bro. That's awesome. So let's keep it going, okay?
Yeah.
So I asked this question. I'm just gonna re-ask it again, just in case, you
Yeah, of
know.
course.
Hey, go. So what led you to search for guidance instead of just learning the old-fashioned way? Like, who did you learn from?
Yeah. So what happened was I remember I was a part of this I did this personal professional development program. It's called Landmark, and there's like a lot of my I call them family in there, right? Really close friends, and one of them, she ended up having a talent show. Not like anyone wins, but more of we could go ahead, share what we're working on, share what we love. And so, anyways, I was considering dancing prior to that. I mean, this is just in the backyard. There's probably like 6 people that entered it.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, man, what am I going to dance to? It's been so long since I performed, but I was still always in my living room dancing, right? I was still here and there. It wasn't like I was drilling or anything like that. And so what happened was I just remember seeing a couple belly dancers enter, and I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm going to do it. And so I just remember hearing that song, like, what's the word? A word up. It's such a cool song. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do that song. And so I go to YouTube. I realize this song is like over 5 minutes. I'm like, screw it. You know, like I don't have time to think about this. Let's just do it. And so I did it. And, you know, everyone's just so supportive, right? They're like, dude, that was awesome. And then
Nice.
afterwards, there's this one guy. His name is Dan, and what happened was like he likes to find people who have various talents to go ahead because he runs all these children's camps, right? And so he wants to get these people to teach these children these different skills. So a couple of them are movement, a couple of them are wilderness survival, fishing. And he's like, that seems like a skill that kids would like to learn. And he's like, maybe, what do you want to do with it? And I said, it might be kind of cool to teach it. And he said, well, maybe I could help you. Would you be interested? So I said, yeah. I mean, I've never taught before. And he turned out this camp would be probably about a year from the time that I talked to him. So I had time to create, plan it, get better. And so along that journey, I just said, crap, I don't know how to teach. So why don't I start learning from people? So then I could go ahead and pass that knowledge on. And so another one of my friends, he worked at a grocery store a couple blocks away from me. And he told me about this other guy, friend of mine over here named Carlos, who was teaching dance. And it was like the only freestyle dance class, you know, like, all right, well, maybe I could see the way he teaches. So then I could get some ideas for when I teach.
Yeah.
And so I go to that. I started connecting with all these local dancers that are really dope. And it was cool too, because Carlos, really young guy. I think he was like 20 at the time, right? And I was just like, damn, man, this guy, he's young, but he's also really, really dope, man.
Yeah.
And it was cool because Carlos would go ahead, he'd share dance battles within the area. So there isn't very many in Eugene, but there's a couple over in Portland. So I just remember going to my first dance battle over in Portland. I saw Slim Boogie, I saw Lobo, I saw Icon, as well as a lot of local dancers who I never heard before. I'm like, dude, these guys are monsters.
Yeah.
Wow, man. I want to step up my game.
Yeah, but that's crazy, bro, because like Oregon has, especially like Portland, they have a pretty good scene out there, dude.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, they have a good scene out there. You just kind of, and it's like me being ignorant. Yeah, I'm gonna say ignorant. I like to say it that way. I know it's ignorant, but I like to say ignorant, right? Yeah. It's me being ignorant that, I thought like only like LA and like and New York or the major cities just had them, you know what I'm saying? And like, even though Portland's a major city, but it's just like, us ignorant people like don't really see it because, what's that one show that comes out? I think it's called something Portland or something like that, where they talk about they're like stuck in the 90s or something like that, right? Portland, yeah. Yes, that one. And so like, so you just kind of see it that way. But that makes sense though, that there's a good scene because like a lot of people moved up there because if it's stuck in the 90s, that's like the rave culture was really getting like coming what it is, and that's so it makes sense that a lot of people are going over there because there's a lot of waivers or liquid dancers, that kind of like got into that. So that's pretty, but yeah, I was pretty amazed, bro. Just like that they got it going on over there. Dude, shout out to you guys out there, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, they had some talented people. I mean, I knew Icon, I knew like Todd was living there for a little while. And then there's a couple others that I knew as well. But then when I first like got into that scene, I'm like, damn. I mean, I didn't even know there was any other people in Eugene, right? And then all of a sudden I connected with them, like, oh, whoa, right? And then I go there, I see all these people, and I'm like, damn. And so then after that, there was a battle over here in Eugene a couple months after. And that's when I first met Lobo. I remember that was the first dance battle that I ever entered. I think it was like 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just remember going in there. I think there's like 23 people, right? Right, 7 kids, whatever, right? Top 16. And yeah, I just remember going into the prelims, like super nervous. I just like ran into the center, just started popping. I thought, okay, if I hit hard, right? But this is an all styles battle, right? And so it was cool. I mean, all my friends, they ended up making it to the top 16. And I think I was like one of the few that didn't make it. And I was like in the group of all the kids. I'm like, all right. I gotta step up my game. All right. But anyways, I just remember Lobo was one of the judges, and I just remember watching him on YouTube for years. And I was like, dude, seeing him dance live over at the previous battle, I'm like, this guy is dope, man. And so I just, I checked out his website, checked out his profile. I was also in a group on Facebook called Portland Poppers, and he's talking about his course coming out. And so I reached out to him. I'm like, dude, you're dope. And you got a course coming out? He's like, yeah, let me yeah, let me connect with you. And it was funny. From there, I got his information, and yeah, we stayed in touch. I just like, all right, I really want to commit, so I want to go ahead and I want to get his $200 package where I get like, yeah, where he goes ahead and he gives me a live coaching call 3 times a month, right?
Oh,
And
nice,
then on top
nice.
of that, I get all the lessons, and I can start getting some feedback from him. And yeah, I think that was the first time, but it was cool too because I remember he came to Eugene a couple times because there was a lady that he was seeing over here, and
Oh,
yeah, his lady over there.
ooh,
He'd come from time
yeah.
to time. We'd meet up. We'd go ahead. We'd session. We got down. I'm like, dude, he's so good, but he's also like a really humble, cool guy. And it was cool to session with him. Like, you want to record a video? I was like, yeah. But I
Yeah.
was kind of seeing like where he was at and kind of like where I was at the time, and just like where he's at now. I'm like, dude, it's
Yo. Hey, so
wild, man.
you can credit Lobo as being your first mentor then.
Yeah, my first official mentor. Hmm.
Okay. Ooh, I think something happened right now.
Hmm.
Did you freeze? Oh, okay, there you are. All right. Yeah, so you say like so Lobo would be your first mentor?
Yes.
For sure. Yeah, man. Dude, I remember Lobo even before he went up there. And that fool was killing it out here. So like, him and Jet Li would get in, like, do a lot of sessioning together, and do some battles together. And that fool was always like, he was always fired. He was always about that wave. He was always really good waver. So
Oh, dude, yeah,
yeah, man.
Weaver, Todd, like anything he touches, like,
He was he's a good animator, bro.
dude,
He is.
yeah,
He is. So
very, very underrated animator, and especially when he combines the two, like his waves with his animation and his touch, like,
yeah, man. And then he's Funny Bones crew too.
yeah, oh
So
yeah,
so he's all about that. So Funny Bones crew has a big impact on a lot of like the West Coast, like West Coast animation kind of stuff. So
oh, absolutely, man, yeah,
yeah,
it was cool to see him make it to the Waves Within World Finals too, man.
yeah, dude. I mean, I seen his thing, and I seen what was that other dude's name? Damn, I'm terrible with names, bro. Uh, but
I know who you're talking about, but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, man, and man, like the other dude was like doing stuff with his thumbs, and I'm like, I don't know. It was really close. It was
Yeah,
really close.
holotype.
Yeah,
Stephen
hollow
Holotype.
type. I was gonna say solo type, but I was just like, I don't think that's
Holotype,
it.
man. No.
I was like, I know it's type something, but I just
Yeah,
didn't want to mess it up.
two completely different styles, man. It
It
was
is.
wild.
It is, man. Man, if y'all haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out. I think it's on Instagram. I think Koi has it on his IG, right?
Yeah. Koi has it on his IG as well. He does a commentary on it. Like
Nice.
it was just a matter of preference of style after that, man. Because both of them are so insanely technical and skilled.
Yeah. Dude, it was insane, bro. So Lobo was your first daddy.
Yeah, my first
It's-
dance daddy.
That's just your first daddy, and then so who's
Yeah.
after that? So who comes after
Uh,
Lobo?
yeah, so that was dope dancing with Lobo. And then after that, I remember I did this 30-day dance challenge, right? And for
Right.
30 days, my goal was to go ahead, record a video, post it on social media. And I remember getting into this because I was at the park dancing with a couple friends. And then another friend of mine, attractive lady. Anyways, she sees me, and she's like, well, what do you say about doing a 30-day dance or 30-day video challenge? She didn't say dance, right?
Okay.
And afterwards, I'm like, but no one wants to see me go ahead and record a video in my living room for 30 days. And all of a sudden, she just tells me, she's like, it's not about what people think, right? That's about just doing the challenge.
Hence, I'm doing my 45-day live stream challenge. I don't care if
Yeah,
nobody is watching.
right?
I just keep doing it
Yeah,
because
who cares?
who cares, bro? Who cares? That's why I challenge everybody to do this. Like, I challenge
Yeah.
you, bro. You right there, Bobby.
Yeah.
You got to do this. You're next.
We'll see, man.
All right. So she
But,
challenges you to do it 30 days. So
Yeah, so she challenges me 30 days to record a video. I'm like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way. And so first video, I just remember just thinking, if I think about it too much, I'm going to psych myself out. So I recorded one in my living room. I did it. I posted it on Facebook. All of a sudden, I got like a lot of positive feedback from it. And afterwards, I'm like, crap, I didn't think anyone was okay. I'm like, all right, maybe I should go through with this. And so as I started progressing, I started learning throughout the challenge, right? And I'm like, okay, why don't I go ahead and create themes for every day? Why don't I go ahead and travel to various places in Eugene that are pretty cool? And why don't I also, so go ahead, themes, travel to different places, and then just have, add friends, include them in the challenge as well.
Mm.
And boom. And it was cool because I just wrote a big list. And finally I started realizing, okay, why don't I record my videos that I post the day before, right?
Yeah.
That way I have time to edit, do whatever. And then the next day, it's like, okay, I go ahead and record another one and post the next day. And so as I was doing it, I was getting more efficient at it. I was getting better in skill. Even though it wasn't like I was practicing, I was just posting the video, right?
That's still practice, cool. Bro. It's practice, though.
Yeah, that is practicing. Practicing, like, I mean, I'm still moving my body, so I'm developing my skill. But then at the same time, practicing, like, being in front of people. And it was just so surprising because there was moments where I was like, man, I thought that video sucked, right? But then everyone's like, dude, that was dope. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. And it kind of shows, like, you never really know what other people are going to think. So you might as well just go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah. And hey, you're right, bro. You're 100% right. Like, your trash can be somebody else's treasure, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And then kind of going back to what we were saying prior, like, it's not so much about what people think anyways. It's just about doing it. But you could also make a difference for people along the way.
100%, dude. I couldn't have said it any better myself. That's dope, man. So you started working with her, and then right now you're working with Todd and
well, it wasn't
Megan, right?
It wasn't like I was working with her. It was just a personal friend who I saw in the park who suggested that.
Hey, dude, but she put the idea, so she kind of like
But during that though, there was a dance battle over in Portland, and I had another friend over here named Anthony, and he's just like, dude, Todd's gonna be at this battle tomorrow. You should come with me.
Nice.
And so I was like, all right, I bought the ticket. We go over there. That's where I first got to officially meet Todd. And it was funny. Like, he's messing around, but he's like doper than most of the people over there.
He's funny too, dude.
I say most because there's like because during the battle, there's one guy that ended up beating him, but all styles. But the guy's doing flips, and the guy also had a lot of groove, had a lot of style, right? Hip-hop.
Yeah.
But still, though, Todd was just like so insanely good, and I swear, like, some of the best rounds came from Todd.
And that just blew your mind?
Yeah, I just remember meeting him. The next day, he went ahead. He had a class, and so I go to his class. And then from there, there's also Donna Mason, also a dope dancer. She used to date Todd, also the queen of street styles in Portland. Not official street style queen of Portland.
Yeah.
And she's really dope. Anyway, she ends up announcing, she's like, Todd, why don't you go ahead and share your program that you have coming up? And so he shared it. And so I asked a little bit about the price. And I'm like, cool, man, I'll go. So after that, I added him on Facebook. And yeah, I just remember he reached out to me. He's like, okay, did you end up finding a bus? Because after that, I was trying to head to my friend's place in Vancouver, which is the city next to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, do you guys know what bus? I'm like, I don't know. But I finally found a bus, and it was cool because I added him as a friend afterwards. And he asked me, he's like, dude, did you find it? I'm like, yeah, I did, man. Thank you. And thanks as well for your class, man. That was really, really, really dope. And so from there, after that, I remember I was still working with Flo at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I want to go ahead and I want to take Todd's class.
Nice.
And I think Flo is really, really dope, man. He's insane. But I think, like, when I was working with like Lobo, like the difference between these two, and this isn't like anyone's better or worse than anyone. Both of them are like amazing, right? But I think like Lobo is just so technically skilled, right? That if you're starting from scratch, it's just like
it's hard to work.
Right?
It's so like advanced that it just kind of like you can't really comprehend what he's doing.
Yeah.
So it's like especially if you're like new to this or you're starting to kind of like develop some skill, like sometimes some of that stuff you're just like I just don't know what he's doing. I don't even know how to figure out how he's doing that stuff. Versus like Todd kind of really breaks it down, to like
and then I think Todd also is good at like finding like what's really good in you and bringing that out. Suggesting it over and over. But not to say that like Todd or Loeb also taught me like musicality, right? He got me started on the foundation. And it's so cool because now I look back at some of his lessons, and even along the way, like we're still friends today, right? And even when we do get down at the park, he'll give me suggestions. He's like, yeah, don't just rush in, but just sit in the pocket, do a couple hits first, right? Just work on this, work on that. And I'm like, okay, cool, man.
That's dope, bro. That's
dope. I think it was like I was one of his earlier students, so it was just kind of like, okay, I got all this knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And then he started to kind of find his teaching methods as well a little bit later. But no, it's still though his musicality. And then when he's like, dude, you should work on your groove. I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. And
all right, man. Before actually we get to the next question, is there another mentor you want to talk about?
Yeah, so there was Todd afterwards. I did his course, and like I said, like incrementally every week he'd give me feedback. I'd get better. And then once he went ahead and he started doing the group sessions, and then I think like that's really where it took off, where I could connect with all these other dancers. And of course, I'm also at this time, I'm connecting with dancers over here in Eugene. Like we're getting down Sunday. Lobo even went to a couple of sessions, but now then there's AJ as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, Mega Man.
Yes, sir. That dude's a beast.
Dude, he's insane. It's so cool. I took his reality check course, and I think he just really, really breaks down like a lot of these other technical things. I mean, Todd does it as well, right? But I think the cool
different styles. It's just the different styles that they have, right?
I think a couple of the things that I really liked is like he gave us a drill video, and he's like, just watch this video. If you do it, at least watch it once a week and do this video, you're gonna level up, guaranteed. But during that week, he's just like, do nothing but watch this video every day and practice it. And then later on, he taught us the system. Now, I mean, he also teaches us cool stuff as well, like character. He goes ahead and teaches vibrates. He teaches like what's the difference between animator and animation.
Yep.
And then just all this other stuff. And I'm like, dang, man, it really made sense. So I just remember taking the stuff that I learned from Lobo and Todd and bringing it to AJ's course at the time. And it was so cool too, because he's also just, one of his sayings is keep it simple, stupid. And I think at the time, like I couldn't dance I would move to funk music, right? But it was challenging for me, right? A lot of the times it was like slower songs where I could really kind of get into my feel and get into my movement. But then taking his class, it's like, okay, now I could actually relax and get into the pocket with funk songs as well.
Okay.
That's been something that's been a big game changer for me.
That's dope, man. So you talked about how like your different experiences with these different mentors, Lobo, Todd, Poppin' Todd, AJ, Mega Man, and how they each kind of had like a little bit of like each put like their knowledge nuggets inside of you, and kind of help you develop in that way, right? Mm-hmm. And so that'll take me to like actually goes into this next question. With all those knowledge nuggets that you now have, right? I like that word, bro. I heard it. I'm like, I'm going to use it. Knowledge nuggets. Okay. So how did finding like a coach, a mentor, and taking on a program like reality checks and this mentorships and Wave Meets Groove and Lobo's program, like help you with with your dancing, dude? How did it help you solve some of the issues that you had as a student of like musical movement?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, between those three and then now just integrating with the community, I'd say if you just do one of those courses, you'll level up faster. Like I leveled up faster just doing like one, going through any of these courses, Lobo's mentorship, than I did like my previous 6 years trying to do it on my own.
Yeah.
Literally.
So
And it's cool too because like each one, like it feels like I've always gotten like a little nugget to focus on, right? And it was like before trying to do it on my own, like it's harder to unlearn stuff than it is to learn something scratch, right? And so
yeah.
I just had this crappy foundation, right? Bad angles, posture wasn't quite there. But then when I started working with them, it's like, okay, finally I started to get that focus, right? Finally, I was like, okay, finally started to discover, okay, this is what looks good, right? This is what I should focus on. Okay, this is how I could do it. And it was cool too, because when I first started, it was like really obvious, right?
Yeah.
You pointed out like, okay, that guy's not moving his head, or that guy's only moving his left hand, or something like that. Right? He's not on beat, yada, yada. But then now it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, now they're like, dude, everything you did looks really dope. Now I'm going to give you this. And this is a suggestion because it's just really hard right now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of pretty cool to be at that space where it's just like, all right, try this thing. And then there are things that aren't even taught in the lessons, but they're just things that like add to what I'm already doing and stuff. And it's cool because not only can they help you clear up what you're not seeing yourself, because it's not like we see ourselves when we're dancing, right?
Yeah.
Unless we record a video, watch it later on. But then they catch the blind spots that you don't want to admit you have, right? Like me being a cocky, sucky dancer, you want to be like, okay, I'm hot stuff. I don't need feedback from anyone, right? But then it's kind of like, dude, you're missing your elbow. Dude, you're missing your hip when you do a trace wave down. These little foundational things.
Or you need to have a little bit more tension in some certain things, like I totally see that. Yeah, man. And you know what, like even I taking the same course, or like the same the mentorship program that we're taking, the Soulbotics mentorship program. And it's like, just by doing that, like, there's a lot of stuff that I knew how to do already, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's just that reinforcement that helps a lot. Or for me, it's just like, it could be just like, hey, like, oh, you just gotta do that move, and then that'll just make everything complete. You know what I mean? Or like for instance, this week we had our our submission, and I literally watched the review right before I did this.
Nice.
And we're doing the mannequin, right? And the number one thing, the only thing they told me was just like, hey, like you gotta have more tension. Like, it looks good, but you gotta have more tension. And I was like, I knew that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like, but like, one of the things I like to do is I always send in my worst video.
Nice.
I send in my worst video because if they critique that, like, they have something to critique. I'm not saying like even in my best video, like I got everything right, but I'd rather have like the worst one there, so I know what they even say at my worst moment.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So, and that for me is like a confidence booster, because I'm like, all right, cool. They're saying this about like one that at least for me feels like my worst one, and then I wonder what they're gonna say when I start setting in my best ones. You know what I mean? So that's just my little tip that I do. But like, for sure, man, like, taking these courses, like, man, you level up faster, straight up 100%. You level up faster. That's why these are so dope to do. Like, I do this when I do Boogie Frantics courses. I'm actually trying to look into do like Slim Boogie and J Smooths, or even like the EB's one, just to kind of like get that universal foundation, right? which
Mhm.
is actually Frantics' class. That's what it's called. And
Nice.
so yeah, and so you get those tips and tricks and those technical helps, from them, like the stuff that you can't see. So that's what you were saying. It clears things up, stuff, things that you don't understand. That's why I think it's really important to take these classes. Like,
Yeah.
we could be proud and be like, oh, you know what? Nah, I got this myself. But like, okay, what's going to take you that much longer now?
Oh, absolutely. And it's kind of cool because I'm hearing Slim Boogie talking about how he's still like bugging Taboo. He's like, dude, what can I work on? Right. Even though he's like one of the greatest dancers in the world, he's always looking for how he can improve. I mean, you look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would watch tapes of himself playing basketball because he was
Yeah.
trying to see like, how he could get better. He didn't look at his only competition was himself.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what it is, because you have to be a student of this art. Okay. Anything else you wanna touch up on before I jump on to the next question, bro?
No, man, that's just pretty much it. Just be always be a student, man, and then learn from mentors, people who can see what you can't see, and
That's great.
community too. Being around people who are going to inspire you and push you, but also just give you the truth as
Yeah.
well. Not that hoorah, like
Yeah.
go get them, cheerleader,
For sure. Dude. And
yeah.
you know how, like, when we session, like, I'm always just like, all right, bro, I'm gonna give you a good, but I'm gonna give you a bad. Okay. It's just
Mhm.
like, and that's just part of growth. Like, if you can't take criticism, like, you probably shouldn't be dancing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's a sport. It's an individual sport. It's an art form. It's an individual art form, right?
Yeah.
I like to call it both because, like, it is very athletic,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's an art. So it's a sport for me, and it's an art form. But
Mhm.
like, yeah, people are gonna criticize you, and you have to be okay with that. And
Oh,
so
that's the
jump
only way to get better.
for sure, 100%. So, what do you think is like an issue that needs to be addressed in the community of dance?
Mm, issue. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this one, man.
Yeah, you have to really kind of like be like, what you want to touch on, because there's so many different like touchy subjects when it comes to the community. But
Yeah,
like, whatever you're open to, bro, I'm open to it. So
yeah, man. Well, I think one thing is I think sometimes there's just so much like technicality when it comes to terms when it comes to dance, right? And there's just so much of that box, right? Like you have to do it this way or you have to do it that way. And I think
yeah,
that get outside that box and realize, like, okay, hip hop dancers can also pop, right? Poppers can also b-boy, right? Just looking at dance as a whole, as opposed to, okay, we're separated, right? And I think so much I see of this competitive aspect of things, like, oh, now I got to battle you, I got to destroy you, I got to send you home to your family crying mentality. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't look at it for competition. I look at it more of like creation, right? Two people creating their art, showing something. I want it to be more like just two people just sharing their art and just sharing something beautiful with the
yeah,
audience. And like I have just as much respect for someone who's just beginning, who's willing to put themselves out there, as I do from like a seasoned person who might be the most skilled, right?
yeah. I
As
see what you're
well.
saying. Yeah, for sure, dude. Because that's like, it's two people that are just uh sharing and expressing themselves, sharing their expression.
Yeah. I want to see more for the expression of things, as opposed to like people just trying to embarrass each other, people trying to make other people like look bad. And I don't know. I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, it's an art form, right?
Yeah.
And each of us expresses ourselves in our own unique way.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? You also mentioned that, like, there's so many technical terms, dude. There's so many
Yeah.
but that's something that happened, like, at least when I got back into it, you know, some of the homies started telling me, like, oh yeah, this is called this is called that, this is a blah blah blah. This, like,
Yeah.
what? Like, I didn't even
Mhm.
know, man. That's like, just, that's too much now. This is like, This is a little much for me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta take it all in. And I do, and I don't like that. Like, I don't like it. Like, no, it's called this. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
I don't care, man. Just
yeah,
enjoy
yeah,
the dance. There's so much thinking of, okay, did I do that move? What was that move called? As opposed to like just being in the moment, moving with however the music makes you want to move.
exactly, bro. You know what? Like, a lot of people are so worried about doing the power moves, the showstoppers,
Mhm.
the murder moves. You know, like
Well,
when
I've
it's
been
just
there.
really just do the basics, dude. Because it's the basics that really like make you look dope. It's the little things, you
It's kind of
know.
crazy. Yeah. I think that's what AJ really taught me. I remember they had a battle at the end of the chorus, right? Where everyone just battles everyone that's in the chorus.
Yeah.
And I remember battling one of my friends. His name is Matthew, me for real, over on Instagram. Really dope dancer. Anyways, I remember getting up. He did some dope stuff. I'm like, oh crap. All right. So I responded, and it was funny because right away I hear like AJ and Castro is also watching, and they're like, dude, he responded. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. And I'm like, all right, now I want to show off and murder this guy. Right?
Yeah.
And so I get up, I'm trying to do all this cool stuff. I'm all trying to do all these vibrations. I'm trying to do all this ticking and stuff like that. And it doesn't even look good, right? But I'm just trying to like look cool, and I don't even have down the basics, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, like, dude, your response was so dope. You could have just gone back, done a simple mannequin, and you would have destroyed them, right? But they're like, but you lost it because you went ahead, you're trying to hit hard, and you're trying to do all these things that you think are good, as opposed to listening to the music, as opposed to like, yeah, just being very artistic with your movement. And then Castro said something. He's like, yeah, if it doesn't look good when you don't have the basics, and it's not going to look good when you go ahead and you try to add all this other fancy stuff to it. So go back and get the basics. But he's like, I still love your fire, and I still love how you responded to that. But for this round, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to him. And I think that was such a huge lesson for me. Is like, man, first off, I was thinking, dude, he's really dope. And they said I could have destroyed him. I'm like, that gave me that confidence. Like, yeah, I do deserve to be here, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like I'm not that far off from where I want to be. It's just a couple of tweaks away.
Yeah, man.
And
It's just it's gonna click. And when it clicks, it's gonna be like, huh, I get it now. You know what I mean? It just
yeah,
happens like that. So it clicks. It clicks, and it's just everything makes sense. And then all of a sudden you're just gonna be like, it's such a crazy feeling, you know, when things start coming together that way. That's
yeah,
dope, bro. That's dope, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's realistically like, I don't know if you've seen like Boogie Frantic. He did his easy, very basic popping on one of his IGs the other day, and he was just boom, 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 just hitting. And dude, it looks super dope, but he's just super clean at that. But something
yeah.
about him is he drills that. He's always like, man, I'm always working on just hitting. You know, he's working, he's drilling those things. He's not drilling the big stuff. He's drilling the small stuff, because in the end, that's what it is. That's what it's basically about.
Oh,
I've seen
dude.
plenty
Yeah.
of dancers that have all these hard power moves get murdered by people that just got the basics down, the mechanics.
Oh,
You know?
absolutely, man. That's the soul of the dance right there.
Yes, sir. All right, man. So let's go into this next question. Okay. So,
All
man,
right.
you've taken like different types of mentorships that you've you know, had all these different experiences. So, like, what piece of advice would you give like to a dancer that's just beginning, or that's going through similar struggles, or the same adversity or the challenges that you had?
Yeah, well, I say my first one is just like swallow your pride and put yourself out there. I mean, that's really what's held me back all this. Like, okay, I should be here, I should be there. It's like we are where we're at, right? And even if you're a beginner, I think that was a big eye opener for me because I remember dancing for 8 years. I ended up going to that first dance battle. I saw this one guy. I was like, 20 years old. He's like, I'm like, how long have you danced for? He's like, 4 years, but he was insane, man.
Yeah.
He was insane, but he also had mentors, and he went and he learned from the best. And I was like, dang, you know what? I'm not going to get any better just trying to do the same stuff on my own. And so I was like, I gotta look stupid. I gotta put myself out there. That way, now if I'm willing to make myself look stupid, then now I'm giving myself a chance to get good. And so just look stupid, swallow your pride, and just go out there, and you're gonna find people that also, a lot of people in the dance community are nicer than you think.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Because I've had those experiences where I've gone into a place where I'm like, damn, everybody's dogging me, but at the same time, it's this stranger that comes in and nobody like knows you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, bro, that's some good advice, man. And so,
Yeah.
last thing, so if somebody wants to find you, if they want to work with you, like how can they find you? Drop your info.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to find me on Facebook, my name is Bobby Roel, so BOBBYROEL. And if you want to find me on Instagram, it is at Bobby Loveable, so BOBBY, and this is all connected, by the way, Loveable, LOVABLE. That's that.
Nice, bro. Nice. And I'm gonna drop it down into the comments
All
after
right,
we're done
cool,
with
man.
all this stuff, man. But hey, bro, man, it was a lot of fun. Like, I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, man. This is what it meant to be. We learned a lot from you, and we hope to see you out there doing more battles, and just showing us what you got, and just inspiring people, bro. Because that's what you do. You inspire.
Cool, thank you. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
man.
what I'm out here for. Yeah, I want to inspire you guys. So if
Yeah,
you're
man.
afraid of entering a battle, maybe you think you suck or whatever, just go ahead, just put yourself out there. You're better than you think.
For sure, dude. Like, he inspired me. He does a lot of videos where he's dancing outside. And so I said, you know what? I'm going outside and I'm gonna record a video. Like,
Yeah.
inspiration it comes in different ways. Okay. But yeah, man. And it was fun. And we'll catch all y'all in the next one.
See
Peace.
ya. Peace.